No, you're good. All right, I'm recording.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another podcast. This is podcast number 66 here at Sporting160EN. I'm not going to lie to you guys. My head's a little lost because I fucked up a recording. But we're doing this again. And I'm here joined with my three good friends that low-key hate me, but fuck it. I'm joined here first by Steph. And Steph, with all the darkness that's going on in the world, how are you doing today, bro?
I'm doing great, bro. I don't have the coronavirus. I don't think so. I don't have a kit, but I did my own testing. I ain't going to tell you how I did it, but tinto, caralho, aguardente, and I ain't got nothing. Stay safe, guys. Wash your hands for 20 seconds with warm water, and to follow the instructions given by the government, given by your state, given by your prime minister. Don't be with more than 10 people at the time. Follow the steps. Safety first. Your health first. Your family comes first. Your loved ones come first. So just be careful. There's vaccinations now being tested by the U.S., Germany, and China, which I wouldn't trust China, of course. They're the ones who started this whole fucking thing. But let's be optimistic. They're saying by the beginning of the fall, we should have a vaccination for everyone. But do your part. Just stay home. If you can stay home, stay home. Don't go outside and be irresponsible. And then we shall be fine. We've dealt with this before. We've dealt with the First World War, the Second World War. We've dealt with many other diseases before, with Ebola, MERS, SARS, and we overcame all that. So we will overcome this as well. Even if you do get the coronavirus, not the end of the world. There's treatments for that. Our hospitals, they're well equipped, will be fine. So that's all I got to say. Love you, all of you guys. This is nothing to do with Sporting, nothing to do with Sportingistas. This is all of us. We're all in the same boat. Sportingistas, Benfiquistas, Portistas, Bragos, Guimarães, do Manchester United, Paris Saint-Germain. It doesn't matter which club you like. We with one team, one fight. This is the whole world all together. So let's stick together and do the proper thing, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, well said, Steph. Well said. Guys, stay safe out there. Stay clean, of course, as well. Nando, how are you doing, dude?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. And Danny, I love you, bro. Don't worry about that shit. We all stressed out here.
Sorry, boys.
But Steph nailed it, man. And I'll say this: our crowd of people that interact with us on Twitter and watch, or I should say, listen to our podcast, I would assume are probably the younger crowd. It's up to us at this point. I really do think like younger people no more than 50 years of age, 45 and less, man. Your 20s and 30s people, like we got to be smart. We got to be safe. There's a lot of examples out there right now where people have the symptoms, have tested positive, but because their immune system and because there's someone that's healthy enough that it doesn't affect them, those people are just carrying that thing around even more invisible than those that are coughing up a storm. So if you find out you're positive, first and foremost, immediately start the distancing. You don't need me to tell you that. The news and doctors will tell you that. But if you don't get tested, if you think you're just invincible and shit, just be conscious, be aware, and take that extra step to prevent, man, because this shit's spreading around like wildfires, and it's just not worth it, right? I mean, lives matter more than sports, more than anything else, family and loved ones and all that shit. So just be safe, be smart, and together everybody's going to get through this shit. And then we can get back to, watching soccer and bitching about verandas.
Yeah, facts. I'm talking shit about Benfica. Christian, dude, how are you doing?
Doing all right, man. I locked up in my apartment, all quarantined in here. Got a 4-day supply of pasta And
Nice.
got 4 chicken breasts. I got 4 smalls. So I am pretty much packed right now in my apartment.
How many rolls of toilet paper you got in there, bro?
8.
Nice, bro. Hey, just don't worry, bro. You can always wash your ass. No need to hoard.
I know, no podes cagar muito, é isso.
For real.
Every other day, I gotta control it myself.
You can use tissues and paper towels and shit.
Newspaper.
Newspaper.
Flip your underwear upside down.
Ficas com as letras no cu, meu. That was back in the days. I remember that day.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I was born 1972. Sometimes we only had newspaper. And the ink stuck to your fucking butthole. Lees noticias do cu.
I think that made you. I think you're immune to coronavirus, bro. After that,
bro. Thank
God I have extra holes because I'm glad I'm not involved in any of that. So yeah, I've just been chilling in my apartment, been fucking around. I did not do this the first time, but I'm gonna shout out the polls that I made today again. But now I'm gonna use this opportunity the second time to call out Seca in poll number 11. That if you don't vote for the purple away jersey, that you should be arrested. Apparently, 52.1% of the people disagree with that sentiment, Sam, which is a majority.
And it includes me.
I'll let everyone else be the judge of that. But I just want to let you know that I'm currently losing that one. Go vote in the rest of them if you haven't so far, and stay tuned for the remaining rounds because they'll be coming. We'll still be fucking quarantined for the next week or whatever, at least 2 weeks probably, or longer. So no one's going anywhere. So I'll keep churning out the meaningless content.
Facts and great polls. Again, follow us on Sporting160_EN. Be sure to vote. And make sure you vote for the right ones, or I swear to God, I'm going to veto this whole shit. And, just kidding, of course. Anyways, let's move on to some breaking news from a ball and record. I'm only laughing because we already did this and I fucked it up. But Rafael Leão possibly owing Sporting 16 million after rescinding his contract to sign with Lille for free and then moving to AC Milan. Steph, give me more details on this report and your thoughts on it.
Well, apparently the Tribunal Arbitral do Desporto has decided that he'll have to pay back Sporting 16.5 million because he had no reason why to resign with Sporting. But he could appeal it. So Rafael Leão with his lawyer, they could appeal this decision. So. Which means it's going to take a few more months to really find out that the decision will stick to what the Tribunal Arbitral do Desporto decided as of today, or it will change. And it's up to his lawyer to prove otherwise. His lawyer will have to provide evidence that the reason why he left is because he was affected because of A, B, C, or D, whatever the reasons they might give to the court system. But so far, what they've seen at the Tribunal Arbitral do Desporto, they've seen that Sporting actually is entitled to 16.5 million, and that Rafael Leão had no business in resigning the contract. And before we blame Rafael Leão, let's not forget that his father was the cause of him resigning Sporting because of greed, because of money. So if of course everyone will look at Rafael Leão as the one that resigned with Sporting, but his father was the one making that decision because he was still a minor. With that said, I still have no sympathy for him. He could have forced his father to say, "No, I want to stay," because Sporting was about to raise his salary. Sporting was about to treat him like a golden boy, and then his father just pulled the chalks and left, and just said, "No, we going after the money." So I think they have more than 16 million to give Sporting, 16.5 million, and just pay it off, and that's it. I'm pretty sure that AC Milan could sell him, and then they could get a bonus, a signing bonus from a Chinese club. Well, China is not the greatest country to go play soccer now, but maybe in an Arabic country, a Muslim country, where you can make a lot more money and pay off Sporting, if worst case scenario for him. But we always suspected that he was going to be the one that would have to pay Sporting because he had no valid reason. Even now, with the whole process going on in the court system in Portugal, all the witnesses said that no one touched him. If anything, they shook his hand and told him, "You're a great player. We have no interest in you." So there's not one witness, including from all the suspects in jail, from Juventud Unina and whoever is the dirigents and coaches, ex-coaches, ex-players. There's not one person that said he was hit, he was provoked, they called names on him. So we knew he was screwed from the get-go. So I'm glad he's going to have to pay 16.5 million. And let's wait a few more months to make sure that that's the case, because we do know that the court system in Portugal could drag on for a few more years. But the UEFA have said it from the get-go. It's not up to them to make that decision, because this process was had already begun at the Tribunal Arbitral de Desporto, and they couldn't interfere. So that's why the UEFA never made that decision. But and I hope he pays up, and I'll never feel sorry for him. I'm always going to consider him un rato, and that's all I got to say.
Yeah, agreed. Nando, what were your thoughts on this?
I'm just extremely satisfied that justice is served, man. As simple as that. If there was one player, and maybe we can all chime in on this, but if there was one player that just completely pissed me off and just completely stirred me the wrong way, it was Rafael Leon from the very beginning. He was conniving, the interactions, just the wanting to leave Sporting at all cost, just one more of those kinds of players. Unfortunately, we've had several of them over the past few years. And the second the attack at all shit happens, I mean, that shit he just jumped right up and he was ready to roll, man, ready to get the fuck out of there. And no, that's not how that works. So I'm glad that justice is served, and I hope that the rails is correct. I give a fuck about his career, to be honest with you. I just want us to get our money, and hopefully he gets punished more so than just financially. Like, he learns the hard way that you just can't be doing things like that. You have a contract, and like Steph said, we were going to give him a much better contract, man, and things could have gone so much better than what it went for everybody involved. So I'm very happy that that's what came out on the news today.
Agreed. And lastly, Chris, I'll pass it off to you. I know you want to give a quick shout out to your boy Varandas.
Yeah, I just want to call out Varandas for trying to. Well, he kind of basically. Sometimes I question if he directly writes the articles and then they just send them to Record, or if they just give them the ideas and then the author puts it together. Because sometimes I think that they literally type them up and then they just send it over and then they just print it. Because the whole article was, it was the cover story. It was like the whole fucking cover, like 80% of the cover, was like talking about how he saved Sporting with the deals he cut for the players that rescinded, and it made special note that Sporting had lost the cases in the FIFA courts for Ruben Ribeiro and Rafael Leão. So once again, emphasizing how Varandas had saved Sporting with his deals. it was always known that the FIFA decision wasn't the important one, and it was always the Tribunal Arbitral de Desporto, the TAD decision, that was more important, and it would eventually decide the whole thing. So now that we got that decision, obviously that would not have been good for the narrative, so they had to spin it by basically making something that was already known and not even breaking news appear like it was news just because it suited the narrative they were trying to push. Basically, this is it shows that, the amount, the 16.5 million euros is more than pretty much any of the other deals that were cut, including the Gelson deal, because if you take the Gelson deal and then subtract the fucking 7.5 for half of Vieto, it's less than that. As well as I think the only one more than was potentially Rui Patricio, but I know a lot of that money was for adventures in Asia, so I'm not actually sure how much Rui Patricio actually ended up netting Sporting at the end of the day. So this very well could be the best deal, and it was not negotiated by Varandas. So that's just a hilarious cherry on top. And fuck Rafael Leão. He better pay all of that. If he appeals, they better not fucking overturn it, because this one feels really good.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of adventures from China, I was just quickly looking up if he was born in Cuenca. Never mind. I was trying to see if David Wang was actually from Wuhan. But anyways, sticking with the TAD and all of the rescissions, we'll go straight into the Tribunal of Bruno Carvalho and Mustafa, where they were free of any moral authority over any of the attacks, or almost free at least. The judge does need to make his decision, but it seems like it is going to go that way. Christian, I'll start this one off with you. What were your thoughts on this whole trial process, and even what's your thoughts on Bruno Carvalho and Mustafa moving forward?
Yeah, so from the whole beginning of this, I'm talking in a tone as if this is pretty much over. I'm assuming that the people are going to do the right thing. It seems like the right thing is a softball right down the middle. So hopefully they won't even fuck that one up. But, you never know with these people. So you never know what's going to happen. So I'm really hopeful that the right thing is going to be done. It seems impossible to do the wrong thing at this point, but you never know. Basically this whole, the whole trial, the way it was gone about pretty much rubbed me the wrong way. From the beginning, the way that Bruno Carvalho was pretty much immediately tarred in the media as somehow being responsible. The way the posture that was taken to him was pretty much, he's guilty. The investigation is pretty much just figuring out how he's involved, to what extent he's guilty. But it's obviously assumed that he is guilty, which at the end of the day isn't true at all. After an over a year-long investigation, there is some sort of smoking gun. I think they would have found it by now, especially with the collaboration and testimony of various different people. I think they would have figured it out if he had ordered them to do it, as he was once accused. I thought that was bullshit, really irresponsible by the media. And I also want to shout out former Jubileo leader, Papa, who totally got his life fucked by Portuguese authorities and Portuguese police. Basically locked up for almost a year on like a technicality because he had a small amount of cocaine. They basically wanted to pin him for this. Obviously, they wanted to pin Carvalho for this, but they didn't have a reason to hold him. They had him in jail a little bit, but then he got out. They didn't have any reason to hold him. Mustafa, however, they had a tiny amount of cocaine, so they somehow fucking probably worked some corrupt deals with people in the courts and somehow kept him locked up for like 9 months in a country where all drugs are decent. If you have a guy locked up for 9 months for a small amount of cocaine. So I'm glad that justice seems finally served for him. It's so funny because as all this is on spot, so Mustafa's been locked up throughout this entire procedure. as these final testimonies are happening, Bruno Carvalho, one of the last to go, everything is trending in a direction. I see stories kind of exposing why Mustafa was locked up. All he had was a tiny amount of cocaine. How is he still locked up? Kind of people raising the question. And then the very next day, he's released. It's like you're releasing him basically a month before he would have been ordered to be released. You've had him this whole time. You're releasing him early by a month at this point is symbolic and, quite frankly, a joke. Ruined his whole life at this point, and you let him out like a month early. Thanks. But screw these people. I'm glad that seems like deserved.
Yeah, agreed. And same question to you, Steph and Nando. Bruno Carvalho moving forward, and also your quick thoughts on the trial.
I'll be really fast. Yeah, I won't take too much. So, if we still have a long way to go because Bruno Carvalho, being found by the Minister of Justice that he was not guilty, that's a good thing. And what matters, it's facts, evidence. It's not people's opinion. I mean, Nano could have an opinion. I could have my opinion. You could have your opinion, Danny, and Chris another opinion. It doesn't mean shit. In a court of law, what matters it's the evidence. It's what you can prove. I mean, if it's not proven, then it means nothing. And so far, nothing has been proven against Bruno Carvalho. And if that's the way that it's going to be until the end, which I'm afraid to say so, but it's still going to take a while, especially in Portugal, because everyone drags forever. And now with this coronavirus, everything is going to be even more delayed. But let's say up to the end, he's found not guilty because there's no evidence, there's no proofs that he's the one who told to do what happened at Auckland, then yes, the Sporting has the obligation to take him back as a socio. They can take him back as a president because it's way too late, because too many things have gone in motion. But they have to, and they will have to apologize to him, take him back as a socio. And not even make him pay for all these months of socio, because this will be at the fault of the Sporting this administration we have now at the present time. They're not the ones who forced him out. It was more o Bombeiro. He was o presidente do Conselho Diretivo at the time. Não era o Rogério, era o Bombeiro. And they forced him out the wrong way. They thought they had enough leverage, but everything was very sloppy the way it was done. I'm not going to talk about it because this would be another 3-hour show. So forget about that. But if he's not proven guilty, then we'll have to take him as a socio. And then he'll be able to run for the elections, which is, I believe, 2 years from now. I think Varandas has 2 years left. And then it's fair and square. Bruno Carvalho will be able to run for the elections again. If he wins, he wins. If he loses, he loses. But what's fair is fair. Give him back his socio membership because he's entitled to, and that's what I hope it happens. If nothing has been proven against him. Again, now Mustafa, I agree with Chris, but if you break the law, it doesn't matter if you have a little bit of cocaine or a lot of cocaine, you broke the law. You still have to serve whatever punishment it is. But I agree, it has nothing to do with what happened with our shit, this and that. They mixed everything together and they made this big mess. And this guy was basically made the goat escape in the whole process. But Mustafa, be careful because he's not a saint. He has a long rap sheet. But with that said, I don't even know if he wants to come back to be a leader of Juventude Leonina because his life is a mess. I think he's going to take some time off and fix his personal life before he even comes back to Sporting as a leader of Juventude Leonina. And that's all I got to say.
Yeah, and I'll I'll jump in real quick off of that. You guys have all nailed it. I've been super, super, super pissed off at the whole handling of Uncle Shit in regards to Bruno Carvalho. Mustafa, like Steph just said, he's had some criminal history, and you know, he's not a saint. I definitely don't see him having absolutely any future as Sporting while Varandas is there, especially with Varandas absolutely despising the Sklocks. So that's not happening. In terms of Bruno Carvalho, man, I'm glad that for this first phase, justice is served. I hope that everything gets cleared and he can go on with his life, whether that means as Sporting or not, because that man has had his life completely turned absolutely upside down. I can't imagine the amount of money that he's probably used and probably in debt, you know what I mean, and all these things. But more importantly, it just shows to me how lucky we were when we did have him as a president, because he has stayed passionate, he has stayed committed, and he has already said that he'll do what he needs to do to run again. And of course, that's a long ways away. We need to first vote him back in, and I don't see those 71% changing their mind suddenly. I think that the tide is turning a little bit. Depending on how this Ruben Amorim experience goes, that's going to be all or nothing for Varandas. We'll get to that in a second. But that and how that goes and the results of that are going to dictate directly if Bruno Carvalho is going to get a second coming back at Sporting. Nonetheless, I'm glad that some justice is being served, that full justice ends up being served, and I hope that he does what he needs to do to regain a status of sócio if he so chooses to, because he's been expelled. And we go from there, because he did have his wrongdoings. We've talked about him plenty of times in previous podcasts and how he handled it, and maybe his arrogance and things like that. All appearance matters to an extent, but nothing added up for me when everything went down. It still doesn't add up. They say that there was absolutely no evidence of anything. If anything, there's been players that went to trial and had confusing statements, like William Carvalho, even Varandas himself. So I'm glad more than anything that's what that's going to happen. That he's going to finally have his name cleared, and hopefully he can be a sócio again, because forget running for president if he's not a sócio. So one step at a time, but some justice is being served finally.
Yeah, agreed. And I think at the very least, if he's not a president, I do think I won't say near future, but definitely in the future, we'll see him with some sort of function at Sporting again. For anyone who is listening to this podcast at Radu Stadio, which now unfortunately I think has I think it's gone not bankrupt, but it stopped doing because of money. He's said multiple times he's willing to come back to Sporting. He's even said he's willing to come back for free, but the only payment would be after winning a league title. So, it's going to be an interesting couple of months, not only in terms of the coronavirus, but also in terms of where we go from these trial results. Anyways, let me quickly go through the questions. We only had one this week, but I wanted to send out a quick shout out to Johnny Buckets, our boy Johnny Siniero, who sent in an incredible gift that I had no knowledge of prior. I don't even know who this guy is from Sporting Celebrating. I don't know if you guys want to go over to Twitter and quickly look at it. But anyways, our question comes from Casa de Paiva, who first recommends a YouTube channel of just Sporting legends. It's SCP Memoria on YouTube. Give them a quick look for anyone interested. And his question is, what have you guys been doing to keep yourselves occupied and sane during this lockout of not just football, but sports as a whole? I've watched an unhealthy amount of old footage of past Sporting/Portugal games. Shout out to you, Matt. All the best, bro. Me, I've been working. I don't know about you guys. I know Steph's also been working. I've been fucking working like a horse. So I'm not in quarantine. What about you boys?
Hey, I'll jump in. I've been stuck at home. What's crazy is my job has made me work from home already for the past 3.5 weeks, and it wasn't even coronavirus related. So it's almost like I've gotten used to this work from home shit. But yeah, working, man, overtime
Nice.
and overtime. If he can post though, what link he's been using and where he's been getting his footage, because I've been following on Twitter a lot of people have been. I've gone on YouTube before, and there's like RTP Memorias and all this stuff, right? But if anybody's got like some legit links where we can watch some full length, old Sporting videos, that'd be dope. If people can put it in the tweets, man, that'd be dope.
Facts. Anybody listening knows anything, reach out to us. You boys want to quickly say what you guys been doing in quarantine or what? I know Chris has been wanking.
Work, a wank here or there.
What I've been doing is
gaming.
work. What I have been doing
sure.
is gaming. Gaming, Twitter, sleeping.
Yeah, we all got a game together too, by the way.
And repeat.
Watching TV. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Sweet.
All right. A lot.
Fair enough. All right, we'll move on then quickly to some soccer. First game we'll talk about. First game, it's really the series, if you will, or the back and forth, which was our Europa League knockout, where we humbled Istanbul Başakşehir 3-1 at home. I'm just trying to quickly get the goal scorers. I remember it was Coates in the 3rd minute, Sporar in the 44th, Vieto in the 51st, and that Visca guy scoring a penalty in the 77th. That was our 3-1 win at home. And then our 4-1 loss away, where we went into extra time, we had Martin Skirtle scoring in the 31st from a header. Some dude that I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name scored in the 45th. Luciano Vieto scored in the 68th, where we thought we had wrapped everything up until the 92nd minute. Visca scored off, in my opinion, a Ristovski mistake, where Ristovski basically showed him the net. And then right on the last minute, the 119th minute, Visca scores a penalty given by, I forget who. Do you guys remember who gave up that penalty? It was pretty a weak penalty. Was it Ristovski?
Vieto, I think.
Oh, Vieto. Yeah, right. It was Vieto. You're right. Anyways, Steph, I'll go with you first. What were your thoughts overall on this Europa League tie? And before I forget to mention, all 4 Portuguese teams were knocked out on this tie as well. So it wasn't just Sporting shitting the bed for Portugal, but all 4. Steph? I think you're on mute, dude.
Do I? Am I back?
There you go. You're back.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to waste too much time on this one because I think we were supposed to do a podcast and we even canceled it for that day. Losing 4-1 away, embarrassing. It's not the way you represent Sporting Club Portugal against a bullshit team that don't even have 2,000 fans, they have no projection in Turkey. They were made up by the politicians in Turkey. The team we have as we speak, it's good for the 2nd division in Portugal. These players, they being overpaid. When you have a player like Eduardo that doesn't even have a place no Famalicão, nem no Vista Alegre lá da minha terra, nem no Bom Sucesso, nem no Gafanha, nem no Neves. It's embarrassing. How can this guy be making 200,000 plus or whatever he's making? I think it's more than that. It's embarrassing. And, the way we lost. We deserved to lose because we had the Doumbia that could have killed the game at the very end of the regular time. He could have scored the I believe the what was it, the 3-1?
That 3-2.
3-2, exactly, the 3-2. And of course, I don't know how we call him a professional player. I have no fucking clue. In my whole life, he's an amateur. He's not a professional player. They said now on the news they want to sell him. They should have sold him yesterday. He's not good for Sporting. I would rather have a Palhinha or Ricardo Esgaio that now we want them back and they used to be our players, and we want to pay, not Pelinha, but Ricardo's guy. We willing to get him back and pay for him when he was our player. Pelinha doesn't even want to come back, and I don't blame him the way we treated him. Why would he want to come back?
Agreed, 100%.
That's what I gotta say about that fucking Liga Europa. It was an embarrassment. That we embarrassed not only Sportinguese but the whole nation as Portugal. And this team, I hope it's that they get dismantled. And we, I do have really high expectations with Amorim. I think he's a good coach, and but we got to give him good players. If he stays with this team, I'm afraid that by the next season we're gonna have a new coach. So we need to give him a brand new players, good players, and I think he'll be successful. I know I'm jumping about talking about the new coach already because I don't give two fucks about the Liga Europa. I think it was an embarrassment, and all the players should have been fired right away on the spot. They should have walked home or gone by boat back to Lisbon.
Yeah, 100% agree with you, dude. Chris, I don't know if you wanted to add something extra. I know you really hated these guys before we move on.
Yes. Honestly, I think that to be honest, I think they played their game because they're still playing in Turkey later than they were canceling the other leagues. So to be honest, I think they played the first leg, and I was really hoping that they got fucking battered also because I do hate these guys. And I don't think
they won against Copenhagen.
Yeah, fuck. Dude,
Visca 88th minute penalty. Another fucking penalty.
Damn it, dude. Dude, President Erdogan of Turkey bought the UEFA refs, dude. This game was behind closed doors. Fucking no one saw it. It's like it didn't happen. They just sneak a win out. Just fake, dude. The whole thing's fake. Someone take them out. Someone fucking take them out. Whether it's Shakhtar or Wolves or Man U or fucking Getafe, someone fucking take care of these bastards.
I would love for it to be Man U, seeing as Bruno. I guess not revenge because did last beat us? I can't remember now. I don't think they did.
They didn't. No, they didn't.
They didn't.
We did.
I know. I remember we beat them 3-1, right? Oh, we lost to them on the last game, right?
Yeah.
There we go. So Bruno got our revenge with that 5-0 win. So maybe he'll get his revenge or our revenge with a Başakşehir Man United a win if they do make it through against Copenhagen. Bernardo, I'll pass on. Sorry, what was that?
Bruno Fernandes, man. Ridiculous.
What a beast.
Ridiculous.
What a beast. We'll get.
We're
another man of the month in a new league now. Incredible. Anyways, Nando, I'll pass this next one off to you. You can relate it to the Başakşehir if you'd like, but there was also a 3-1 win, or a 3-1 loss, I should say, a win to Famalicão, which really put the nail in the coffin for Silas. The rumors after that Başakşehir loss of Ruben Amorim was already somewhat circulating, but they really came hot and heavy just before the Famalicão game, and then we seen Silas go away. Quick thoughts on the game, but more importantly, what were your thoughts on Silas' time at Sporting? Was it cut too soon? Or was Silas never deserving of a role at Sporting? What were your thoughts?
So real quick, I'm going to combine Famalicão game with the Istanbul game. We suck, right? So we've been saying that all year long. An embarrassment that we follow up that kind of Europa League performance by then losing again 3-1 to Famalicão. So it's like they couldn't even like motivate themselves to fucking be good. You know what I mean? It's like they couldn't even try to act like as if they represent a prestigious club that is Sporting Clube Portugal. And I think that after watching the Liga Europa game and the Famalicão game, it completely encompasses exactly how I felt about Silas all along. He's never been a coach for Sporting. It was Varanda's not knowing what to do, reaching for something and hoping. The only thing that I will give Silas credit for was at the very end where he made some comments where he stood up for himself, and he contradicted the club in some regards with like some record stuff that had come out. But he's not saying that he can't end up being a good coach, but before he went to Sporting, I didn't think he had done anything to deserve going to Sporting. And after everything that he did at Sporting, he obviously does not deserve to step foot back in and be Sporting's coach again. Sporting played horribly under him. There were literally no, to me at least, there was no clear like direction or philosophy of game or some moments of this or that and the other. Sure, like Steph said already, when talking about the Liga Europa game, we don't have good players. We know that. We have very, very few good players, like legit good players. We have a lot of mediocre players, and we have a lot of horrible players, and we have one or two good players, and that's it. And when that's the case, you cannot expect a club to do well. I mean, you need to have good players to do well. The coaches are going to come in, like Steph said with Ruben Amorim, and just suddenly start winning, right? Or at least that's not expected, or we don't think that's the likelihood of that happening. So I don't think Silas is. Let me backtrack. You asked, do I think that his time at Sporting was cut short? From the retrospective of like now we've got a new coach called Ruben Amorim going on another coach, and the season hasn't even ended. I mean, let's forget about the coronavirus and just assume like nothing had happened. At this stage, yeah, I think he was cut short because he should have, in this case, finished the season off if we're going to go ahead and do what we did to go get Ruben Amorim. But hindsight, like, he sucks. He shouldn't have been our coach. You know what I mean? Like at this point, we have nothing to play for. Sporting could have legit saved money, and we'll talk about Ruben Amorim here in a second. I know each and every one of us has an opinion on that, but we could have saved money, kept him there, finished off the season. We literally have nothing else to play for, and then taking this time to literally scout out our next coach and do it the right way. You know what I mean? But yeah, he didn't really serve a purpose. He didn't do anything. Sporting didn't play well, didn't play better. We lost our ties that we needed to, or had hope in being in Taça de Portugal. He cost us that. Liga Europa, he cost us that. The league was already done. So yeah, the dude has no spot for being Sporting's coach.
Fair enough. And Christian, I'll ask you a similar question before we move on to Ruben Amorim and the price tag and all of that. What were your thoughts on Silas? Sort of same question. Do you feel like his time got cut short? Do you feel like he was the right man? Maybe, wrong squad. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought he was a man that was pretty much destined for failure. You'd always kind of seemed like a placeholder. But I mean, obviously, I think that if somehow he had turned Sporting around, they were playing good football with the terrible squad that they had, they would have kept him around, obviously, when they, in theory, improved the squad. Kind of like, I don't know, to our followers who follow NBA basketball, the Sixers, Brett Brown coached throughout all the process years. The teams won 8 games. And he got to stick around because he proved he was a good coach despite them being terrible. And then when the team got good, he got the opportunity to stick around and coach. So if the same thing happened, if Silas proved that he was good despite the team being horrible, I think they would have stuck him around. But he always did kind of seem like a placeholder. It was just a question of how long was he going to be the placeholder for. I don't think that he thought he was going to be the placeholder as short as he was, because I don't think he would. I think that he quickly realized that he was fucked once he took the job, and he didn't fully realize the clown show and the circus that he had signed up for. He's not that type of guy. I think if he could do it over again, he would have just avoided the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, he was fucked from the beginning, and it's amazing that they pulled the plug when they did. This season is just ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, obviously 10 million is what it is, but I think the timing of it is even more insane. It's just, I don't even know what to expect. as far as like where to finish, when we'll play the remaining games out. There's a lot of uncertainty. So, yeah, I guess we'll just, wait and see what happens. I hope everyone on the squad stays fit, in their houses or their apartments.
Yeah, agreed. So now let's move on. Steph, also feel free to chime in about Silas, but more importantly, third highest paid manager in the world, belongs to Sporting, or in terms of a transfer, of course, not in terms of a salary, which was 10 million to Ruben Amorim, who has, if I'm not mistaken, a license less than Silas and has only 13 games under his belt as a professional first team manager. He's 500,000 less than Brendan Rodgers. And I believe who was in first? Was it not Zidane, was it? Anyways, I'll figure that out in a sec. But what are your thoughts on Ruben Amorim?
It was Villas Boas. Amazing.
Villas Boas, that's who it was. Yes, from Porto to Chelsea. What are your thoughts, Steph?
Well, I think there's, it doesn't matter. And that's a big thing for me because I can go on and on the whole night naming different names that players that played at Sporting, Benfica, and Porto that they liked Sporting and they played at Benfica. They liked Porto and they played at Sporting. A few names that comes up to my mind is Jean Pacheco, Antonio Souza, Gomes, Futre, Carlos Manuel. Everybody that knows about these players, João Pinto. Everybody knows that João Pinto liked Benfica and he played at Sporting. Gomes was a Portista and played at Sporting. Carlos Manuel was a Sportingista and he played his whole life at Benfica. With that said, Bruno Amorim, coming back from a background of a Benfiquista family, to me it doesn't matter. As long as he comes to Sporting and he represents the club the way he's supposed to, and he seems to be a true professional, a youngster with full of potential. He has the leadership skills that I didn't see in Silas. He's determined. He's one of those guys with a strong pulse, and that was proven with the doing the substitutions on time. With Silas was always way off. He was like Zep Zaidu. He did substitutions like at the 85th minute. What are you expecting from a player when you only give them 5 to 7 minutes? You can expect much. He's not even warmed up. And he did that a lot with Platas, and that's the first thing that comes up to my mind. But right on the spot with that alone with the Ruben Amorim, just with a couple games under his belt with Sporting, that's the one thing Sportingista noticed. Okay, the substitutions he's doing them when he's supposed to. The timing of it's impeccable. Then the way he put his team together, even though he doesn't have the player he likes, because Ruben Amorim, he likes to play in the midfield. He likes to play with trincos, meaning that he likes a strong, robust midfielder, and he plays more off the wings. So he likes the wingers to be the decision makers and cross the balls to 2 to 3 potential players to score goals. João Palhinha, for example, he has scored a lot of goals at Braga because he's been inside the box a lot more, even though he's not as talented as Daniel Bragança, let's say. But he's very strong defensively as a trinco, as a number 6. So he's been shining a lot. But if he was at Sporting now with Silas, I think Palhinha would suck, actually, because of the Silas was more playing towards the middle, not so much from the outside with the wingers. So coming back to Amorim, his philosophy, the way he makes his team play, he's very dedicated to his own style. And I like his pulse. Like Hitovsky was pissed when he was substituted. and the flash interview, he told him, "I'm the coach. I'm the one who makes the calls. If he's upset, I don't care because I'm the one that makes the calls." And I like that. You need a coach with balls. You need a coach that controls the team. It's not vice versa. I think Silas lost that with the players. I'm going back and forth with both coaches because you have to compare them a little bit, even though we don't have enough time with Ruben Amorim at Sporting. But you can already compare it. That you could see that Silas totally lost to Balneario. He lost the team, the pulse of the team. He gave the leverage to the players, and you can't do it. You have to trust your team, your coaching staff, and your coaching staff has to control the team. When you give the upper hand to the players will walk all over you, and that's look at Manchester United. You have Pogba that doesn't give two shits about Manchester United, and he does whatever he wants. And then, as a miracle, you have Bruno Fernandes that shows up at Manchester United, and he transforms the whole team. And this with Sporting is going on with Bruno Amorim. He goes there, and I hope the best for him and the best of the success. But we do need to get him good players. We do, and from what I understand, he's not happy with Rosier. He's not even happy with Ritovsky. He could deal with him, but he wants wingers like right fullbacks and a left fullback that can do both functions defensively and attacking mode, aggressive wingers. So he's okay with Acuna, but even Acuna is not the best of players for him. The way he wants to design the team, so it looks like Sporting is willing to spend quite a bit of money to invest on a left fullback to compete against Acuna if we keep him, and they're willing to get rid of Ritovsky and Rosier and get a brand new right fullbacks as well. They want Palhinha back. The media said Palhinha does want to come back. I don't know if I'm gonna bite into that because the next day Palhinha said at this point in time I'm just concerned about my family and about the coronavirus. But I'm pretty sure that the if Sporting could do three things now would be the scouting department should be paying attention and I would I would pay attention to reviewing tapes. If I'm Ruben Amorim and my coaching staff, I would review a lot of tapes of all the players we have now and see who I want to keep for 2021. I would review all the tapes of the players we have loaned to see who can come back and keep. And I would review tapes with the scouting department about potential players I want for the team. We have a lot of downtime now. No one is practicing, so they could do these three things: review the players we have now, review the loan players, and review potential players for Sporting. Why not? You're home, not doing shit. Might as well do some scouting. And then by the time we come back to practice, they could have an idea of how to build the 2020-21 team. Because let's be honest, this season is over. We have 10 games left, but Bruno Amorim should be given the chance. I mean, we signed him for 3 years. Am I right? 3 years. So he should be,
Yep.
yeah, 3 years. So he should be given the chance to prepare a good team for this preseason, and so we could attack fiscal year 2020-21. I think we want to. Sporting wants to have a budget of 55, between 55 70 million budget for the A team. So that's a little bit less than Benfica and Porto. But Porto is struggling as well. They have to sell a lot of players too. And now with this coronavirus, it's fucking every team anyway financially. So they're talking about in Germany and England. And even Spain, I believe, to cut on the salaries of player salaries, which I think that's a good idea. I think they pay too much to these players. They pay them way too much, and they're not playing enough. These players, they became prima donnas, and the amount of money they earn and what they produce, it's bullshit. I don't agree with it. It's about time that the inflation reverts in favor of the clubs, and we shall see. It's going to be an interesting season, especially with the head of the coronavirus.
Agreed. My quick 2 cents. I think Silas, he was unfortunate to get the Sporting he had. I think he had a lot in him. I also agree he had a lot of flaws. I'm with you, Steph. A lot of late substitutions. I still question also his treatment with Pedro Mins, for example. But I also cannot forget that he also brought Luis Max to the team. He also had he had some courage to drop Renan. I put more blame onto the team than to the coach himself, because there was games where I seen us play some of the best footy I've seen in a while. Of course, the sample size under Varandas is shit, but even in terms of the last few years under Jorge Jesus, I think Silas has a few games where he rivals Jorge Jesus' best moments with a shittier team. But with that being said, I'm also somewhat excited with Ruben Amorim. I'm a little skeptical because of his lack of experience. And in terms, people were complaining about Silas' license and how he couldn't stand up on the bench, for example. Ruben Amorim isn't going to be that much better. And for whatever reason, we kept Emmanuel Ferro there as well. So just loads of confusion. We paid a lot for him. If it doesn't work out, Veranda says this isn't an all-in. I don't understand how this couldn't be an all-in. If this doesn't work out, we're not sacking a manager we paid $10 million for. We're not, we're putting in 50 to 70 million for the next season, like you said, Steph. If that's not an all-in, I don't know what is. For all that he talked shit about on Bruno Carvalho's last season, he's sure as hell going for it this season, and as he should, because if next season goes bad, he's fucked. Veranda's just fucked. And my last point, that's really all my points on Ruben Amorim. I think it's a dangerous game we're playing, a very dangerous game we're playing. Nando or Chris, I don't know if you guys want to take over, or if Steph, you wanted to say something.
I'll jump in. Because I'm gonna approach the Ruben Amorim signing from a little bit different angle than from both of you guys have gone at right now. We fucking paid $10 million for him. 10 million euros. Like, the simple fact that Sporting went out of their way to pay 10 million euros. 10 million euros. The same Sporting that couldn't afford Nani, that couldn't afford Bajdosh, that couldn't afford actually keeping talented players on the team or going out and purchasing more talented players. The same Sporting that said that they were being financially responsible, this shit and that shit. We go and spend 10 million euros for a guy who's coached, 12 or 13 games now? Come on. Yeah. That's it for me. That's the shit right there. Like, of course I want him to do well at Sporting, right? I want Sporting to do well just as much as the next guy. Do I believe he's going to do well at Sporting? Fuck no. I don't. I think that for him to come to Sporting and fuck it up, we could have done so for a lot less. I'm just going to be honest. Like I don't expect him to come to Sporting and do well. His first press conference, he even kind of jokingly said, damn, when they told me that I was going to have a clausula de 10 milhões and you got that meme pan in on fucking Varandas as he's sitting there looking he's thinking about what the fuck did I do? You know what I mean? You can't. What it's so hard to justify. I'm lost for words. Okay, and this is the other thing. Talk about the amount of pressure Ruben Amorim is going to be on. Literally his whole time at Sporting. Huh? I don't know if you guys, he must have.
I think you put yourself on mute, dude.
Nah, he's good. But basically, think about it from the perspective of pressure, right? not only is he putting the pressure on himself, I mean, he can come at it from the like, you know what, they came at it, they met and they matched my cláusula rescisão. Wasn't my choice. I'm a professional. I went over there. But like the pressure that's obviously going to be on him if he's a professional, he's going to want to succeed, and the pressure that's going to be on Varandas. And this whole narrative that like we knew that we wanted to go ahead and take this opportunity the rest of this year to prepare for next year bullshit even pisses me off even more, because it just shows that it's him admitting that they didn't prepare for fucking shit, right? So the whole Ruben Amorim thing, I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. What would have happened? Think about it this way. What would have happened if coronavirus didn't happen, if Sporting had not signed Ruben Amorim, we had finished off the season, and Braga lost and tied a few games, and suddenly he finished the season with maybe, 20 games under his belt, and he lost 4 or 5 or lost 2 to 3 and tied 4 to 5 and won the rest. Like, would we then have been all in on 10 million for Ruben Amorim? You know what I mean? Like, you just can't fucking make that decision to go literally buy a dude who's been a coach for 13 games or 12 games before Sporting got him for 10 million euros just because in that stretch of his career, shit just went right. That's all I got to say. Like, it's just fucking, it's absolutely insanity, man. It's fucking insane. He has to do well at Sporting. He can't just like get by with okay. Like, I'm not gonna accept Sporting in fucking third place or almost even second place. Like, Sporting's got to fucking win the Taça Portugal, man. Like win the Taça Liga.
But Nando, the reason I'm not agreeing with Varandas either. I think $10 million it's excessive too. Could he make that money up later? He could, in a way. He could, of course, he could. To have the final certificate of being a full-time a coach at the Liga NOS, you actually need a few years of experience before you get the last certificate to be a full-time coach, like Sergio Conceição and so on. So it's not within a year that he's going to get the last certificate phase. What is it? Phase 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe. That's right. Like 4 phases. So it takes a couple years to get the last one. So he's not going to get it next year either. That's why Silas didn't get it this year. Some people are like, how come Silas doesn't have it yet? Because it takes a couple years. You have to have X amount of games under your belt before you get it. So Bruno Amorim is not going to get it. But there's ways of knowing that if he's going to be a good coach or not. Before he coached Braga in the A team, he was coaching Braga in the B team, and you could see the potential of a coach. By all means, I'm not defending him. I'm just stating the obvious. Was 10 million of euros too much? Yeah, I agree with you. Way too much. But now, Varandas, he didn't get him for these last 10 games, because there's only 10 games left. He got him for the season 2020-2021. That's obvious. That's more than obvious.
That's what he said as well.
Yes, that's more than obvious. Now, and I agree with Nando on this point, if in 2020-21, after they give him all the players he requires, and he knows he's going to be limited with money, he's not going to have a whole bunch of money to invest in awesome players. But if the scouting department gets better and gets good players, which there's good players out there, you just need to get motivated players. Sometimes getting a well-known player doesn't mean you're going to have a good team, because sometimes you don't. They're not motivated enough. Maybe Bruno Amorim, I hope so, he'll be successful, and then you'll be able to make that money back. Because let's say Bruno Amorim does a phenomenal season, then Sporting signed him up for 3 years. They could sell him. They could sell him for 15 million. And I hope Varandas is not there anymore, because I don't think he's going to win the next elections, even if he becomes champion of Portugal in the next year.
But you see how many things have to happen, though? See, like, I hate sounding pessimist for a guy who just got here. But just because he went out of his way to pay what he paid, which we all agree is ridiculous. He shouldn't have done it. And yes, he bought him now because this is going to be his get the team ready for next year and all that shit. This is his off season. But But the likelihood of that happening, right? The likelihood that Ruben Amorim was the missing piece. Ruben Amorim was the one thing that just needed to happen for Varandas to suddenly be a good president, for Hugo Viana to suddenly know how to fucking manage. You know what I mean?
Nobody thinks he's a good president because he bought Bruno Amorim.
No, but it needs to everything Ruben Amorim has to do tem quase acertar em cheio in almost everything for us to win, for us to then recover the money on him. So much has to go right, and so
the only reason why we bought him is because we have money, because we sold Bruno Fernandes and we're getting 10 million from Mateus Pereira, and then we got rid of Oliveira that went back to Brazil. I mean, let's look at all the moves that Varandas and his administration made. They saved a lot of money, and they've made some shitty deals and so deals. Bruno Fernandes, he should have been sold by 150 million. To tell the truth, he's much better than João Felix, and he has proven that. If João Felix, if I'm gonna say something, you guys not gonna like it, but I'll say it. If Bruno Fernandes was at Benfica, he would have been sold for 150.
100%. 100%.
But since he's at Sporting and the administration we have in place doesn't know how to negotiate, we sold him for 55, and we still had the balls to say, or they had the balls to say, not us, that enganamos o Manchester United. This is what we said. Que enganamos o Manchester United. Fizemos negócio do caralho. For 55 million.
And funny enough, on one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first interviews with Bruno Fernandes, or I should say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's interview with one of Bruno Fernandes' first games, the British press was already asking if they got a bargain in Bruno, and he was saying absolutely. Now, boys, let me just quickly ask you this one question before moving on to Chris. So there are rumors that third place might give us Champions League. Depending, because Porto is having currently some financial issues where they can't make Champions League next year. I ask, is then this not only the 10 million, but also a shit disturbing Braga worth it to potentially try to get Champions League? What are your thoughts on that?
Go ahead,
Is
Chris.
that a smart move at least?
Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, the thing that sucks about all of this, and honestly, the rumors of being linked to Esgaio, Paulinho again, Cicada, it's just like we're literally we're funneling so much money directly to our direct rival, and it's infuriating because I don't understand why we have to do that. It seems like we're doing it intentionally, and Salvador's like, oh, if he wants those three, he has to pay 65 million euros. And then it's like, wait a second here. Let's do the math here. How does all this add up? You're charging like 30 mil for Paulinho, like 20 for Esgaio, and 15 for Cicada. It's like, man, and then you think about it, it's like, wow, he did just pay 10 for a coach, and it's like, wow, is he really actually going to do that? And it's like, even the fact that that's even a thought is scary, right? Yeah. So I don't know, man. I really hope he doesn't do. I mean, he's already committed locuras. I hope he doesn't do anything ridiculous like that, or anything similar to that, because that would just be insane. And that those rumors aren't going away, because those are Amorim's guys, or what he considers his guys, and he's not going to stop wanting them. So.
Yeah, and also, again, back to the 10 million. I guess I'll play devil's advocate on my own argument, but I know Nando and even Steph was making the same argument. And Chris, I'm pretty sure you think the same thing. In terms of the small sample size we have, Ruben Amorim did beat Porto twice. He did beat Benfica, and he did beat Sporting. I'm not sure if he beat us twice or not, but he did beat us. It does not just in the small sample size, in the 13 games we have, that's about 4 wins against the big three. Does that somewhat justify this 10 million, or is it still a bad taste in your guys' mouth?
I mean, I think the 10 million is because of the potential. It's not only Sporting that saw it. Everyone saw the potential on Ruben Amorim, and you could tell the potential of a certain coach or player, by analyzing him in the long run and what he's done at that point. And again, he's been coaching for a while. Before he went to Braga, I think he was coaching a team in Lisbon. I'm forgetting the name now, but
It was right down this road from my aunt's apartment, Casa Pia.
There you go.
I think so. I think it was Casapia. Then he went to Braga, and he was coaching the B team. The B team was really close to Sapinto, and then once Sapinto was fired, he took over the team, and then for a president like Antonio Salvador to give a chance to Bruno Amorim to take over the team, it's because he saw something as well. I mean, if you look at Antonio Salvador, he's been doing some phenomenal stuff in Braga. They've been champion of Football Praia for the last couple of years in Portugal and international. The female team has been amazing. They beat us all the fucking time. Their club has been champions in certain modalities as well, in track and field and so on. So, you know, the man knows what he's doing. And from what I've seen about Bruno Amorim, I think he's going to be a good coach, better than Silas, because he's got some leadership skills. Again, is it too soon to say so? Yeah, it is too soon. But let's give it some time. But I'm going to give him, a good preseason, some key players that could make a difference for Sporting. But Silas lost the team because he couldn't control the players. And you could see it. Ele não controlava o balneário. You could see right away the players were walking all over him. The lack of respect for Silas. And that's how he lost the team. You need a coach with balls. And I think Bruno Amorim's got that. Could I be wrong? I could be. I'm not putting all my chips on him. $10 million, I agree with Nando. It's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
But later, if he's successful, he could be actually cheap. But I still want Verandas out. I still want another president.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. And again, we can always make I think people are looking too much into us potentially selling them. I think where we make our money back is if we can at very least give us Champions League. If not this year, next year. Well, of course not this year, unless we can somehow get third.
Or potentialize certain players. I mean,
100%.
if he makes like players like Plata, Giovanni, Cabral play better and be better, Camacho, and then we end up selling them for 30 million. There we go. Now we got the money back.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to say really fast. I would like to say too that Sporting has given the pavilion João Rocha. It's available to be basically a hospital wing and the soccer field as well to assist in the coronavirus for whatever means necessary. So Sporting has made that available to the Portuguese government. So that's good.
Yeah.
Kudos to the administration on that.
Agreed. I was actually going to mention that. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Kudos to them. We can kill Verandas as much as we can. Or as much as we want,
that's
but
good.
We gotta give them the credit where the credit's due, 100%.
Indeed.
And we'll just quickly give our final verdicts with Ruben Amorim. Again, a shame that the 2-0 win that we had under our belt with him came with 2 red cards.
But there were 2 red cards.
They were 2 red cards. Agreed.
It doesn't matter. There were 2 red cards.
I only say 2 red cards because it was a weird game. It was weird to watch. Like they were obviously all pushed back. We struggled to break them down, but it's always hard when a team puts every man behind the ball.
Exactly.
So it's hard. It was hard to tell going forward how Ruben Amorim is going to go. But I'm with you, Steph. I liked also. Maybe I didn't like the substitution of Ristovski, especially not at the time. But I do like the reaction. He is the coach. Ele quem manda, So I'm with him at that. I hope him all the best. I'm supporting him too. I'm with you, Steph, as well. I don't give a fuck if he's a Benfiquista, a Portista, a fucking from Beira Mar. I don't care, bro. If you're here at Sporting, as long as you give us the proper respect and the proper integrity that this club deserves, you have my full backing. I don't think he's going to win us a league title. I think he keeps Verandas, and I hope, to be honest, because if he keeps Verandas in for a job until the next election, that means he's doing he's doing a decent job. So yeah, that's my verdict on him. Steph, what's yours?
Same thing, bro. I'm gonna give Tim 10 on Andy or Chris.
Chris and Nando?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't like you're asking what I think is going to be his fortune or like his results as Sporting.
Prediction.
Man, I don't know. Like, fuck, he signed a 3-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I give can't be much worse than this year, right? We always say that. Third place next year, and then maybe the year after that, push for a second or maybe 1 or 2 Champions League appearances, depending, how that shit falls our way.
Don't know, bro. Don't know. Don't say that because Porto is in trouble.
I know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
Porto is in trouble.
If we can get third this year, we might get Champions League.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I think everyone is in trouble now with the coronavirus. Every club is losing. Not only in Portugal, worldwide, they're losing a lot of money. When a German league, a British league, they say to sustain their clubs, they would have to cut down on the player salary. That's a strong message.
Exactly. Imagine us. Exactly.
Imagine us. We're going to have to sell a lot of chouriço e bacalhau com caralho.
We're going to start selling beer in the fucking stadium, maybe.
Putas e vinho verde, caralho.
And Christian, final verdict on Ruben Amorim, dude.
I think that Varandas is going to get forced out before the end of the year, before the end of this, the season, in May. Yeah. Well, actually,
2020 or 2021.
2020. But now I'm rethinking my timelines because of global pandemic.
Yeah.
So
I don't even think we'll be back in the season by May.
No, I don't think so. I think by June, July.
June, July.
Yeah. The curve, the coronavirus, you'll see it curving by
so
July.
Varandas is gonna have to wait. Varandas out's gonna have to wait until October, November then. So basically, he's gonna get forced out about halfway through next season, and the new coach is gonna be stuck, or the new president's gonna be stuck with Ruben Amorim, and even if it's not working, he's gonna have to make it work. So that will create a very, very interesting dynamic, especially it seems like he wants to bring in his own coach. It's fuck. So that's why I just think it's an irresponsible decision in the first place to spend $10 million on a coach. Coaches, transfer fees with coaches, it's a risky thing. You want a perfect example. Just look less than 1 mile down the road from Alvalade. You got another stadium, and they thought they had a hotshot coach. They thought all the big teams were going to come knocking. They locked him up for some massive fee, and now look at him. He is potentially going to get fired maybe at the end of the season.
It doesn't make him a bad coach, though.
No, it doesn't. All I'm saying is coaches and transfer fees are super, super volatile. You catch them at the right moment, they're high value. You catch them at the wrong moment, you can get them off this great coaches off the scrap heap. That's why I just don't agree with paying really any transfer fees for coaches in general, let alone the third most expensive one of all time. That's all I'm saying. I just think it's the risk versus reward. I don't think it is worth it in the end. But he's the coach. We got to deal with it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Last but not least, just a quick mention. Of course, not a lot of modalidades happened again because of this pandemic. But a quick shout out to our futsal team, which beat Benfica 5-3, if I'm not mistaken, about a week ago now. Steph, if you want to quickly add any implications that had to, was that a league game or a Taça game? That was league, right?
Taça.
So
Taça Portugal. We've moved on to the semifinals. We were supposed to play against Leões de Portugal. So now we don't know if we will, because now everything has been suspended. The game was played in an empty stadium in the north of Portugal. And me personally, I think the game shouldn't have been played. I think the game should have been postponed. To play in an empty stadium, empty pavilion, it's bullshit. The game, it's all about the adepts, the fans. Without them, it's not a game. But anyway, we did win, and we deserve to win. But I'm afraid it won't count for anything. But at the if you look at the whole picture, I think there's a better chance of the Portuguese Cup of Futsal finishing finishing that competition will be a reality than the championship itself. Because that's only two more games of semifinal and the final, rather than the regular season, which was supposed to be the playoffs, the three games, three out of three the games, and then the final it's 5 games.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was a good win, but it shouldn't have been played really, because no one at this point in time. What's the major concern? It's our loved ones, and that the coronavirus goes away.
Yeah, and we'll end it on that. There was just one other piece of news, not really an opinion thing, just I'll throw it out there. There was a potential 229 million euro loan that later was dismissed by the administration. We'll obviously keep on top of that and see if that is true or not, because we also know that this administration is also full of shit. But yeah, boys, another great podcast. I want to send out again all my love to everybody listening, and to you three as well. Hope you guys stay safe. Stay clean. Stay away from these dirty bitches out here. But yeah, guys, everybody listening, keep safe. Take care.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Wash your dick. It's very important as well. And hey,
the fuck we doing that we need to wash it?
If there's no toilet paper and you don't have a bidet, use your shower.
Keep the distance. Guys. Keep the distance. Wipe your workspaces.
Bro, funny thing is, like I was riding my electric skateboard today. I had to get the fuck out the house, and real quick, as I was going down the sidewalk, this black dude sees me approaching, and that dude jumps off like 4 feet to the left, and he's like, 6 feet, bro, 6 feet, 6 feet. Fucking funniest shit ever. Like everybody here, he was like 6 feet.
I know. Really fast, o Senhor Zeca, 63 years old, a great great Sportingista that passed away on the 13th of March. So my condolences to him and his family.
Yeah, our condolences as well. And guys, we'll keep you posted on these podcasts. Of course, there's some uncertainty in terms of games, but Sporting is a telenovela, so we might just come onto these podcasts and discuss latest news and latest moves. So yeah, keep posted. Keep following us on Twitter. That's Sporting160_EN. Of course, we will put out, especially Chris, we'll put out more polls in regards to the jerseys. So keep looking out for that. And stay safe, guys.
All right, you guys too. Take care, guys. Let me stop recording because this pressure's on me now.